get that out.
Okay, and we are live with the one and only Dr. Fantasy. Welcome, Philip, to our show. It shows poor judgment on your part, but we're happy to have you.
Well, I'm happy to be here, actually. I love hanging out with people who like books and like talking about books. So I think I found the right place here, right?
Well, you think as a like full-fledged PhD and everything, you would have done a little bit more research into this before you agreed to show your face here, because I'm not sure that's probably your best move. Hey, Alex.
We do talk about books a little bit here, but the tangents are many.
Well, Tim, look at you. You're just salty about that hockey game still up there in Canada, aren't you?
Uh-oh.
Tim's one of our favorite Canadians, so.
Soon to be a U.S. citizen.
What's
Really?
that?
Well, when Canada becomes a 51st state.
Oh, don't even. I saw something the other day that they had a thing. Canada, not Canada, but somebody up there put a thing that says, okay, what state are you from, and would you like to be a part of Canada? And I was like, as a Vermonter, yeah, sign me up. It's like not the whole Quebec thing. I don't want to have to learn French, but if we can go back to bilingual road signs up there, sign me up. I'll take the free help.
We do love our Canadian neighbors in Vermont, for sure. Yeah.
The Four Nations hockey tournament, man.
Oh, who cares?
The Canada v USA had like 4 fights before the first 2 minutes the other day.
Wow.
Apparently it was very well received. The Canadians booed the U.S. national anthem. I mean, come on. We've pissed off the Canadians
That's
enough
a good
that they
start.
booed the national anthem, right? That's saying something.
Maybe they're sending a message about becoming the 51st state.
It's not a good look for us. It's really not.
I mean,
Andrew from Australia, how you doing? You're on tomorrow already. Welcome. Mr. Roberto.
There's Mike.
Hello, Mike. Sorry. All right. So, yes, you all know that we have Philip Chase, author of the Edan trilogy, with us. This is all very exciting. So we'll talk about that and a little bit about what you got coming up. But I know EL's not on yet. He's not showing himself, but you have a very nice eclectic bunch of stuff behind you there. So which of all those books, sans yours, is your favorite?
Oh, that's easy. I'm a huge fan of the Malazan series by Steven Erikson and Ian Esselmont, both. Really, I love both of the Malazan authors. But yeah, if you're making me pick one, then it's going to be Malazan for sure. Yeah.
So, sorry, Mike, go ahead. I'm watching my cat. It's getting ready to do something.
By the way, I think EL, you mentioned EL. I think he's in a plane right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Didn't reschedule. I'm kind of upset with him. So
I get my ticket redone.
Since you gave me the floor, Ro, you know what question I'm going to ask.
You're going to ask that right away? All right. We're 3 minutes in. You go ahead.
So this is a question. There's only one right answer, and Ro and I disagree on what that is.
Everybody else disagrees with you too, Mike.
I need Tim Wolf to be here. He'll back me up. But
you're batting like 10 on this.
So picture the main street of your city. Do you want to go down the main street in a saddle on a griffin or on a T-Rex?
Oh, I mean, would it be a spoiler if I mentioned a series where the T-Rex actually did happen? I guess I don't want to spoil that series for anyone, but probably anyone who's read the series knows which series it is. But a griffin or a T-Rex? Yeah, the T-Rex has happened actually. I mean, in a book at least.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Because the griffin can fly, right?
Right. This is why I didn't say a dragon, because if it's a dragon, I know what wins every time.
Yeah. So, well, since the griffin can fly, I'm gonna go with the griffin.
And another one.
Again, you got it wrong. Oh well. Well, thanks for being on tonight. We'll see you later.
I mean, the T-Rex has been done, and it was done very well, I will say, as well. You know what series I'm talking about?
No. Dresden Files?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't read nearly enough.
Yeah. It's a great. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for people, but it is probably the best seen in the entire series that I've read so far. But, yeah.
Yep, I've read what 15, 16 books, I forget. Peace Breaks Out, I think, is next for me, and I haven't read that. Or is that the one? I don't know. I've read many, but I haven't got. My friend keeps telling me that's the best book, and I stopped right before it. So
Yeah.
Oh well.
Harry Potter did the Griffin, I guess, right? Yeah.
Which brings up another fine question. If we're going to get into old questions here, Mike.
Go for it.
Doctor of Literature, who is the hero of the Harry Potter series?
Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh,
This will be our definitive answer.
You're putting me on the
spot. You have the credentials and all the letters after your name.
The hero. There's only one. It's got to be
not the one necessarily J.K. says it is, but when you read it and actually look at the characters, who's the real hero of this story?
It's got to be Neville, right? Neville Longbottom.
Well, no, but okay.
And Ro, who is your?
It's Severus.
Oh, I like that answer. Yeah.
It's absolutely Snape.
Yeah.
But I did say you would be the definitive answer, so.
Oh, no. I mean, it was kind of a joke answer, but yeah.
So I made the mistake of asking the Griffin T-Rex question before Tim Wolf was here, so yeah, that's okay.
Just really quickly, hello to Von Roycroft, who has one of the cooler last names of anybody in the thing.
It's such a good last name.
Found the channel. Great. Welcome. Please hit like and subscribe.
And we are our guest March 27th.
What's that?
It'll be our guest on March 27th.
Oh, are they?
Vaughn will be.
Yeah.
Cool. See, I don't look at the schedule. Just
Von Roycroft. Not only does he have a cool name, but he has an awesome couple books that I've read, and the third one is coming out very soon in his Sundered Nation trilogy. So big congrats to Vaughn, and some of the coolest covers you're able to see. Really awesome covers. Yeah.
Well, I think your covers of the Edan trilogy were pretty cool too. I mean, you got the whole stained glass thing going on with those. Do you have one of your older copies of that?
Oh yeah,
sure.
You can
throw up there.
Yeah. I have all three. I have extra copies. So this is the first one, The Way of Edan.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's got more stained glass stuff on the back. And the second one is The Prophet of Edan. And that's got a dragon on the back. So, yeah.
Nice.
Everybody wants to ride one of those, right?
Yeah, you need to have a dragon.
And then Return to Edan is book 3. And yeah, that's the stained glass motif. I don't know how well people can see all that, but
was that your idea to do it that way?
Yeah. So I had the idea because the backdrop to the whole series is a holy war, and I thought conjuring a kind of a religious vibe with the stained glass covers would work well. So that was one of my thoughts in asking my artist and my cover designer, who did a fantastic job on the covers. I just couldn't be happier. So big shout out to Kira Gregory, the artist, and Jack Shepard, the cover designer. Also the map maker, by the way. Jack did a fantastic job with the map. And yeah, I loved how it came out, and I feel like it's an unusual motif. So I actually don't have the patches on this one. I'm sorry, but I do have other jackets, herringbone ones with the patches. So I'll try to wear that next time.
We're going to apologize for them.
Embarrassing questions. What are they thinking?
You get them just after dinner. They get a little punchy. So what?
Sorry.
Oh man. Now, as a professor of medieval literature, when you've got 3 books out, so when did you write your first one, and what was the point where you said, you know what, I'm going to write something non-academic, just for fun or whatever? What kind of got you into that point?
Reading Lord of the Rings when I was 12. Actually, got to the end of Return of the King, and that was it. I wanted to be a writer. I needed to be a writer after that. I just thought to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to do what Tolkien just did to me, which was an incredible sense of catharsis. So I kind of took the scenic route, though, to getting there, and it pursued. I mean, because I was told early on, you need a day job if you want to be a writer.
Right.
That's probably sound advice.
It really is.
So I ended up falling into academia and doing the PhD, and maybe a little bit of following in the footsteps of my hero Tolkien, being a medievalist. So I did specialize in Old English and Old Norse and that kind of thing, because I thought that you needed to know a bunch of dead languages to write fantasy, right? so I did all that, and then when I finally did get a full-time position as an English professor, I just I think it was 2 years before I felt like, okay, it's time to write. And so I was 32. This was in 2004 when I started to write, and it took about 2 decades before I actually published the thing. So actually a little over 18 years. And that was quite a journey. I began it thinking it would be traditional publishing, and I did secure an agent. But we were pitching the books at a time when epic fantasy was really not what traditional publishing was looking for. So I had a great relationship with that agent, but ultimately we decided that self-publishing would actually be a better route for me to go. And that's what I did. I self-published all 3 books that I had been tweaking and working on. I worked with a developmental editor named A.P. Canavan as well. He has a YouTube channel too called A Critical Dragon. Just brilliant guy. And I put them all out in 2023, all 3 books, because I was self-publishing. I was like, all right, I can do it my way. I'm going to do all 3 in 1 year. Boom. There you go, everybody.
It is the lack of, and I want to get to Bard's question, but was because self-publishing, independent publishing wasn't really a thing in 2003.
Right.
Was it the lack of being able to get caught on to a traditional publisher? Is that why it took 18 years between when you said, yeah, I want to do this, and when the first book came out?
That was part of it, for sure. It was also just me being crazy and tweaking these books for that long and wanting them to be as good as I could make them. So yeah, it was really a combination of things. And then just me coming to the point where I felt that it was the right thing to do, and that this was going to be how I was going to get my story out. So yeah, it was really just a decision I came to. There was a definite moment I can point to where it was like, yes, I think this is what I need to do. And that was when my agent did a pitch, and it took a year for the publishers to even acknowledge that they had received his submission. In other words, thanks, we got your submission, we'll get back to you. And that's a year, of waiting. And I realized something's broken here, and I decided to just go self-publish instead. And my agent was very supportive of that decision.
All right, let's, Mike, you want to cue up Bard's question?
Sure. How much is Edan inspired by your favorite works, and would a reader get more from having read those inspirations first? No, you should always read his books first. You can always read them again after. But go ahead. Now say something.
Yeah, so I'm definitely inspired by the medieval literature that I love, and in many ways, the first book, particularly The Way of Edan, is full of little nods and allusions and little tips of the hat to Beowulf, especially, but a lot of the Old Norse stuff and some of the Welsh. I spent time in Wales learning to speak Welsh as well, and I also spent time in South Asia, living in Nepal and traveling all over India, and I speak a little Nepali, and that worked its way into it as well. I'm a big fan of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana and various epics and traditions from around the world, and they all made their way in there, in terms of the story, but just in terms of the cultures that I developed in there and the languages that I worked on. I have some fake languages that are not nearly as developed as what Tolkien did, but I was able to fake them to a degree based on some of the languages that I know and love. And so, yeah, it's a combination of influences and the travels that I've had, and all those things. I guess like any author, really, there's this soup that's swirling around in your brain, and you don't know, even in the process of writing, what's going to emerge exactly. Even I'm a planner. I had a vast outline. I had drawn my map. I had everything perfectly measured, like how far can this army get in 3 days, and I had done all that research. Wonderful. But also sometimes the story just surprises you. It pulls you, and you have to follow when it tells you to go somewhere. So yeah, it's just a combination of all these things, really. The Adan trilogy is what came out.
So I have a question for you. What is your favorite book that is at least 400 years old?
Oh, it's definitely Beowulf, I would say. I mean, it's my favorite thing to teach. People who, people make fun of me for saying Beowulf all the time. So it's just such a wonderful text. And I think it's foundational for fantasy in the sense that it influenced some, big fantasy names such as Tolkien and yep. Tolkien's fascination with ancient cultures, with the Ubi Sunt theme, the where are they who came before us, the idea of past civilizations, the dust of history, and and using that as a way to reflect on our own fleetingness. That's a huge theme in fantasy, and it you could say derives in large part from Beowulf. So yeah.
Oh, here's a question Alex asked.
Alex actually has a couple of questions. He has an earlier one as well.
Yeah, but I want to hear the answer to this one.
Okay.
So John Gardner's Grendel, the book, is brilliant. I love it. I think he's a great writer, and I enjoyed Grendel a lot. And it's a different take. It's a very modern take on what would have been, from the medieval perspective, an embodiment of chaos and darkness and evil, and there was no subtlety to it, really. There was no feeling bad for Grendel or anything like that. But John Gardner's modern take on Grendel is just brilliant.
So this book, in high school, we were supposed to read this in English, but I went to a Catholic school and there were 2 curse words in it, so the principal said we couldn't read it because we were young and impressionable as high schoolers.
So you read it.
So the teacher had, paid for, got all the books delivered for everybody. We got our copy, and then they had to take them all back. And I was like, nope, I lost mine, and I refused to give it back. Love the book.
Good for you. Yeah, I love it.
A weekly churchgoer to this day.
No.
This is a great question. Any advice for encouraging younger people? I mean, the younger people you deal with are already 18, 19 years old, but
yeah. I mean, it's actually my job to encourage young people to read, really. I mean, so as an educator, I try to show my passion for literature, and I try to be as articulate and knowledgeable as I can. And I also try to be empathetic toward my students. And I think if you're able to do those 3 things, you're probably going to reach some people. And it is the best feeling in the world when a student says, hey, I used to hate English class, but after this, I think I might actually read something, So that's the best thing in the world.
I think part of the problem is in like the high school thing, you're given books to read, and the teachers don't necessarily want your opinion, no matter how well you frame your opinion. They want a specific answer.
That's right.
Right. And so then when you get to college, you're free to express your opinion as long as you can, give a good reason for it. Right. Yeah. So I think that's probably a lot of the reason that people will say things like that. And it's good that they do. But I have 2 questions kind of along these lines. Have you ever read something by a student at home and just poured yourself a really stiff drink and just thought, oh my God, I really hope you find another calling?
I mean, yes, the Dunning-Kruger effect is alive and well, I guess. And I have encountered individuals in my time teaching who don't have a firm grasp of how to write a sentence and say, I'm going to be an English teacher. And well, okay, let's think about your options maybe. And, or, there'd be some work to do, but I try not to discourage anyone. And that's, but yeah, it is hard when you encounter. I mean, the easiest thing in the world is to teach somebody who is already knowledgeable and is enthusiastic about learning. That's easy. Anyone can teach that person. The harder thing is, again, I think it's empathy is the key, is to reach those students and try to inspire them to the point where they want to learn and they have an idea of how far they need to go if they want to be an English teacher or something like that. But yeah, it is important to be encouraging, but to be real. You don't want to give somebody false hope either. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tightrope for sure.
So have you ever thought of, just for fun, giving your students an assignment where they have to translate an old piece of writing that's really just you writing in cursive, and then give it to them and see what they do?
That would be very devious. And my handwriting is bad enough, right? Probably could do something like that.
I mean, most of them, and you're talking about kids now who were born in what, 2000 freaking 12, 14?
I mean, they're younger than my kids now, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, not 14, but yeah, it's then they can't read cursive. So
yeah, and it's funny because of AI, I have actually been doing a lot more in-class writing with my students, and they at first aren't really thrilled to do in-class writing, but I will say that they end up actually kind of liking it because of the fact that they can't procrastinate. Number one, if I tell them to do it at home, I inevitably, some will be like, I couldn't do it on time, Number two, they actually are working on their writing. They're actually improving their writing by actually doing their own writing, not asking ChatGPT to do it for them. So yeah. And I don't care, I'm a medievalist, so I like, doing things the old fashioned way. So it is a difficult thing I think anyone in teaching right now will tell you that AI has created a lot of difficulty for us in the classroom. Yeah.
So with what?
Just real quick, Philip. So I was at a Comic-Con and I sold my book to this girl, teenager. And then I was like, do you want me to sign it? And I signed it, and she held the book and goes, oh my God, I always wanted someone who could write in squiggles.
I think that was a compliment, Mike.
That's hilarious.
I'm very old. Yes. Thank you for that.
So
yes,
with your struggles with getting a publisher and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do you suggest to your students? I mean, do you go through the whole indie thing and kind of show them that as a real option now?
Sure. Yeah. Anybody. I mean, if I do occasionally have students who are interested in writing and pursuing that as a calling, if you will. And I try to be realistic again with them, because I think that while self-publishing is much more viable than ever before, and while it is possible for a self-publishing author to reach the same level of quality as a traditionally published author, that does take a lot of work, though. You need to take it very seriously. And for me, that means hiring a developmental editor.
And none of that's cheap.
It is very expensive.
Right.
It is very expensive. I actually am my own copy editor because I'm an English professor and I've been grading people's papers for 30 years now. So I don't need to hire a copy editor, but I do need a developmental editor for sure. And I think it's if, as much as it's a hard thing to just tell people, oh, you have to hire this and this and this, and you can easily spend $10,000 publishing a book. So not everyone has $10,000 sitting around, so obviously people are going to need to find ways to make it viable. But as much as you can, And there are other ways you can go about it. We're in a community. We help each other a lot. And I noticed that a lot of people will just put out a tweet or something and say, hey, I need some beta readers. Anyone interested? And that's a way you can do it. There are always people willing. Yeah, it's very expensive. It really is. I mean, it's tough. But if you are, yeah, I hear you, Vaughn. And Vaughn also has those beautiful covers, and they didn't come cheap either, So, if you're doing it right, if you're doing it everything that you can as well as you can, it's going to be an expensive process. But, and here's the thing, actually, I probably should say the hardest part of all is the marketing part. Is just after putting all that money into your book, the editing and the beautiful cover and the cover designer, I paid a map maker as well, and all kinds of stuff. How do you get enough people to buy that book where you actually even make your money back?
And here's a question, without getting into any specifics, just a yes or no is fine.
Okay.
Have you made your money back on this trilogy?
Oh yes, I have.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
You're one of the few, I think, that I mean, a lot of people. I would jump to say most indie authors have not.
I think that's true, like factually true. And I cannot retire or anything like that on what I've made, but I have made a profit. Yeah. And
so
I feel very fortunate.
So this is going to blow your mind. But just, I believe last week, Philip told us that he now has music to go for his series.
Yeah.
You have what?
He
music.
Has
music.
You have music?
Yeah. So I commissioned a fellow booktuber. That's just a hobby, though. His full-time job is he is a Hollywood composer. In other words, he has written music for Wheel of Time, the television series, and his Dark Materials, the television series. He does a lot of films and TV series. His name is Nikhil Koparkar. And he is, the prophet of Eden. I like that. He's just a wonderful person and very immensely talented. And I got this idea because I love music. And I'm a person who will play music when I'm editing, not when I'm getting the initial story out. I feel like I just need to focus entirely on that. But when I want to edit, I often will play music, and I play music that gets me in the right mood. So if I have a really epic scene, I'll play something, very epic, or I'll play.
I'll drop some band names. What are you listening to?
Well, if I'm doing something epic, one of I don't know what they are exactly. There's this group or these people called Two Steps from Hell, and they produce all this, like, I think they do a lot of stuff for TV and films and stuff, maybe. But it's just like super, like, guitar shredding and, it's like epic stuff. Like, so, and if I'm writing a battle scene, I'll listen to them. But if I'm listening to, or if I'm trying to go for a very contemplative, beautiful type of scene, maybe I'll listen to The Lark Ascending or something like that, by Rafe Vaughan Williams. That's a beautiful piece, and that always puts me in a spiritual mood. So I love music, and I think music and fantasy go together beautifully. And I always wanted to have a song to go with my trilogy. So, and it's like Nikhil read my trilogy, and I thought I would be crazy not to ask him to write a song. I commissioned him to write a piece, and we worked on it for months and to get the right thing. Also, my daughter, who is a cellist, plays in the piece.
Nice.
And it's very special to me. And
you got it right there where you can turn it on?
You wouldn't hear it if I turned it on.
Okay.
You hear garbled stuff, but I did put it out very recently on my channel. It's one of the most recent videos. So if you were to go to my channel, you would see it right there.
What is your channel?
Philip Chase, very creative name. I don't have a cool name like you guys.
Is this a YouTube channel?
Yep.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I will link that here in just a sec.
Cool. Yeah. So it's 3 minutes and 42 seconds. So not too long, but it's just fantastic. And to me, it really does convey the vibe of my writing, and I just love it so much. I don't know, Mike, you've read the first book, and did you listen to the song?
I did not listen to the song. Did that?
Okay.
Was that after the story? Or
I mean, I was just going to ask you if you thought the song went with the
I have not heard the song yet. I have to look that up, but goldfish memory here, so I did not think of it. I do want to tell you though that I was listening to Beowulf. I was doing the introduction, and they're like, Beowulf. They said, and he slew Dayrave, and I was like, wait a second.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah,
I always felt it was such a shame that in Beowulf, the coolest name is a throwaway character that Beowulf literally kills by giving him a bear hug. Just, wait, that is such a cool name. What a waste of a cool name. So that became the name of my protagonist. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed really quick here on your YouTube channel, you got 30 minutes on One Piece.
Yeah. I have been reading One Piece, and it's been a blast. It's a lot of fun. I have a ton of just laughs, and also surprisingly deep themes in that series. It's been such a ride. I'm a little over halfway through the series now, and it's just a lot of fun. I didn't realize I was going to have that much fun reading One Piece.
Have you watched the live action?
No. Oh, the live action, yes. I don't watch the anime. I've seen bits and pieces of the anime, but I did watch the first season of the live action. Yeah. Which is it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, my kids are always trying to get me to watch that stuff, and I generally don't like it, but One Piece is actually really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's the only exposure I have to anime, and it was a live action, and I liked it. I don't like to read anymore. I'm old, so I like to listen to books, and so I'm not going to read manga or that. But when the live action was on, I was like, everyone talks about One Piece. I'll give it a try. And it's like, and I watched it in like 2 days. I mean, I normally turn my TV on for like 2 hours a week maximum.
Wow.
That's during basketball season when I can watch Kentucky play and sometimes win. But yeah, 2 days and I watch it, which is almost a record for me.
Hey, we are almost 32 minutes in, so I'm going to ask you a question here, Philip.
Okay.
And I'm going to just duck away for a minute. I'll be right back.
All right.
But tell us about your book.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that. He knows the right questions, so like a wind-up toy, just let it go, right? And when you ask an author to talk about their book, that's just go. All right. So I'll actually be pretty brief. So the briefest pitch I have is it's Beowulf meets Buddhism, which is kind of true. And the longer version of that is it's a story that is, as I mentioned earlier, set with a holy war as a backdrop, and it features characters whose worlds are turned upside down in one way or another by that holy war. But it's fundamentally about the question of whether or not humanity is redeemable. Like if you were to take the perspective of an ethereal, otherworldly creature, and that was visiting the Earth, and you were to able to see all of Earth's history at once, and you were to ask yourself the question, which species on this planet has been the most destructive, right? And I think there's an easy answer to that one, right? And which species seems to produce more suffering than any other species on this planet? And there's an easy answer to that question. And if you are that ethereal being, you might even think, well, if we're to help this planet out a little bit, maybe the easiest thing to do would be just to eliminate that one species, boom. And then everybody else is happy, right? Or happier, perhaps. But yes, that is one perspective. Now, I wrestle with the question, are we capable of transcending that? Are we capable of transcending our tribalism, our cruelty, our hatred? Are we capable of seeing ourselves in the other? Are we capable? And this is something that just stems from my own life, my travels, and my interactions in the world. Are we capable of embracing compassion and empathy? And that's the fundamental question to the Adan trilogy: is which is it going to be? Are we going to continue being the most destructive species on the planet, or are we going to transcend that and learn how to see ourselves in others. And that's kind of what I guess was at the foundation of why I wrote this story at all. Just kind of wrestling with that and exploring that question.
I will put 20 on non-transcendence.
It seems there are days when it does really feel that way, especially
if I was writing that story, my aliens would see the cause of the greatest pain would be religion itself. But that's just me, because like Mike, I was brought up Catholic, so
yeah. Well, I like to think that my trilogy is it's not anti-religious, and I think some people might read it and think that it's anti-religious, but it's not. For me, it is simply it's a spiritual journey, and I don't think anyone can deny that religion has been used by many people in the course of human history to wreak all kinds of destruction on other people as justification for destruction, as even posing as virtuous for visiting destruction and hatred upon others. On the other hand, religion has also inspired a lot of people to do good in the world, to be more compassionate and empathetic. So it's really a double-edged thing. And I think there's no more institution that reflects humanity's kind of our paradoxical nature than religion. I mean, there's just that. If you want to understand humanity, look at religion. And
right. I mean, if it wasn't for religion, we would have no need for most of the museums, housing art and that we have. So
yeah.
I can buy that.
It's so double-edged in that sense. It has been an immense force for creativity and love and compassion, but it also has been at least a justification for a lot of hatred. Taco Bell does indeed. You're right, Tim. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Tim's keeping us grounded. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So now you have behind you a special edition cover of one of your Edam books.
Yes.
From Broken Binding.
Yes, the Broken Binding.
So how did this start? Was this something that you did as a Patreon, or just something where you said, you know what, I'm flush with cash from making money on my trilogy, I want to spend some of it on a cool book binding?
Yeah, no, actually, I didn't spend a penny.
Nice, even better. Look at that.
Yeah. No, everything is the artists. Everything is the Broken Binding. They're the ones that put the cash into the endeavor. So obviously, it happened mainly because the owner of the Broken Binding read my first book and liked it and said so on Twitter. And that started a conversation, essentially. And I was thrilled because they're a much beloved company. So it's a real honor and privilege. And Shane would know. Shane is a Broken Binding fan. And for someone like Shane to say the best Broken Binding edition they've released, wow, that's high praise, and I'm just so pleased with how it came out, and there a lot of people's work went into this. So it was really great.
Can you show us some of the special bits about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean here's the cover, which I still have the plastic wrap on it, so there'll be some reflection there, and there's the back. And that has a kind of idyllic, fantasy Vermont-like vibe, maybe. I
was going to say that, and I said no. That'll be too pandering. But
I actually asked the artist to use Vermont as a kind of a model.
Did you?
Yeah,
that was a good choice. Well done.
Thank you.
For anybody who's not aware, Philip and I are both native Vermonters, so yes, we're gonna plug VT, the real VT, not this fake one that I'm at down here.
Here's the map that was made by Jack Shepard, a color map. And let me take off this outer thing here and the cloth.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. There's a raven there, and there's a nice little quote.
A raven, yeah.
Yep. I mean, if you've read the books, the significance of that. But the old tales take us to faraway times and places, but they're also where we come from. They tell us how we got here. That's on the back.
Yeah, it's got the gold edges.
Yeah, it's really shiny. Yeah.
Ooh, shiny.
Gilded edges, and it's got 4 color illustrations by Renee Agner.
Nice.
And yeah, I don't know how well people can see that, but there are also 4 black and white illustrations by Peng Lu, and they look a bit like that. And there's another one, color illustration, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I the artists are incredible. And there's one of the Supreme Priest Bledla, who is the in charge of the religion in the Way of Adan, which is where all the titles come from. And
So you can't pick that up on your website. Where can someone pick up a copy of that?
Of the special edition, yeah, there's still a few left. So it's a limited run of 1,500, and you'd have to go to the Broken-Balding, and it's not on their regular website either. It's a little hard to find. If you Google the Broken-Balding, the Way of Adan, then you'll get a direct. It'll take you directly to where you can buy it. That's the easiest thing to tell people usually. Okay. And yeah, it's not easy to find it if you try to go to their website, unfortunately. But yeah, and there's this beauty here. So yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing to me that I worked for nearly 2 decades on this story, and that it's taken this form, to have it out in the world, all this stuff that was going on in my imagination for all those years, and now it's here, and it's just incredible. Yeah, and the audiobooks too. So Mike, you listened to the audiobook that Alan did, right? The way
amazing, wonder. Yeah. I mean, absolutely amazing.
His performance is just fantastic. It's his first audiobook, but he's just so talented, and he went about it so professionally. And I could not be happier with the outcome. And I do think that I just was in contact with him actually, and I think that we could be seeing The Prophet of Adan, book 2, by April at the latest, and possibly even March, but April at the latest. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm driving to Pittsburgh in April, so now I know, I have something to listen to.
Oh, I hope it's out for you then. Yeah.
So Tim has a serious question, which we don't usually entertain here, but it's a special occasion.
Yeah, why not? What the hell? Let's do something new.
So Bledla is the guy I showed you. He's the head of that religion, and he is very much one of the instigators of that holy war. And he's a true believer. He believes that what he is doing is for the good of everyone, that he is called by his God to convert everyone by the sword and by the fang, and to use whatever means necessary, and that it is a sacrifice on his part. So yeah, that's one way to put it, Tim. I mean, that's what I was saying, but you said it more succinctly, so thank you.
So is that your main character?
No. I mean, he's a very important character, but he's not the protagonist.
Okay.
The protagonist
is he the most fun to write then?
He was. It was interesting to get in his headspace, actually, and there are points where I hope that even if you've read the first book, you come away with a slightly more complex picture of him, that this is a man who would give anything. He would sacrifice even himself for the sake of what he believes his God is asking him to do. So it's not a selfish desire on his part. He's not a megalomaniac or a narcissist or anything like that. He is a true believer. And he really thinks that what he's doing is necessary to save the world. So he's the real deal in that sense. And as I said, he is to the point where if even he believed that he were somehow in the way of this mission, he would eliminate himself. I mean, he's that devoted to this cause. So now he's working with a king who is not really such a true believer. He's more of your narcissist, your fraud, your person who is willing to use religion as a pretext for yeah. So
that's unbelievable. That's not something that would actually happen in real life.
No, right? It could never happen in the real world, right? Yeah.
So I have
keep in mind, I wrote this back in 2004.
Right. You're prescient.
Yeah.
I have my favorite character. So I don't know what that says about me, but yeah.
Who's your favorite character? You cut out.
Okay.
The dickhead.
Yeah, the dickhead. There you go. shock hero.
Yeah. He was an interesting one. And yeah, it's something that I tried to write his parts where I am trying to show some understanding of where he's coming from. I really want to understand. I mean, one of the reasons you write is to try to understand, right? So I hope it comes across that way, that it's not just, I hope it doesn't come across to anyone as religion bad, and I hope not, because that's not what I intended at all.
Now, you said you're a very stickler kind of planner.
Mm-hmm.
In the writing of these 3 books, did the characters do something that just kind of threw your whole plan, out the window? Did they just do something that was so unexpected where you had to change a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, that happened to me in the 3rd book, where there's a brand new character who, for a lot of readers, becomes one of their favorite characters in the entire trilogy. And this character just took on more and more importance as I wrote that 3rd book, which is a bit of a weird book, actually. The 2nd book ends where I think a lot of people would expect a fantasy trilogy to end. And the 3rd book, I've fully intended from the beginning to do this, but the 3rd book is essentially what happens after the battle is won and the hero makes the ultimate sacrifice. And often in fantasy, we just see everything goes back to normal. We have a big party and everything's great. But wait, that's not how real life works. In the aftermath of a conflict, there's usually a lot of struggle. There's sometimes even more conflict. And there are a lot of people who suffer, and that suffering just doesn't go away, right? So it's a bit of an odd 3rd book, but it also is, I think, for most people who read the trilogy, it's their favorite. So I took some risks in writing the 3rd book, especially. It's the most different, I would say.
Well, I mean, for my money, I could have easily read another book about, the sacking of the Shire after the end of Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, didn't expect this. That's cool. I want more, but he kind of glossed over that really quickly. It's like, they came in on their horses and they looked like they were 6 inches taller than everybody else, and they beat up the bad people and sent them on their way. And hey, that's.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Yeah.
So will books 2 and 3, and you may have answered this already, and I apologize if you have. Will books 2 and 3 be getting the broken binding treatment as well?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to start on book 2 relatively soon. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm very excited because I think book 2 has some of the best visual scenes, if you will. It's got book 2 has a lot of action. Book 2 is where the Holy War really gets underway, and it's a bit of a struggle. And it's also where the hero is called upon to make that, sacrifice. So, yeah.
Have you considered a Kickstarter campaign or anything with all the artwork that you've got now with this and all these special editions?
Well, I'm lucky in that I'm working with the Broken Binding, so I don't need to do a Kickstarter. They do all the, paying the artists and stuff. And I'm involved to the extent that I work with Patrick Leo. He is their art director for a lot of their books. And he's also a very popular booktuber and Goodreads reviewer. And he and I work together on which scenes to make into art. And it was. Oh yeah, sure. Gorsarhad has to be in the in the art somewhere, maybe on the cover, even, who knows? But Gorsarhad is a dragon.
Right, yeah. You gotta have a dragon on the cover.
Yeah. If you have dragons, you got to put them all over the art. Yeah. So.
We glossed over this. I answered it in the thing, but Alex has a question for you, real quick. Just going back to this, because you got a rep to 802.
Ooh, what about fancy?
See, I'm a dark amber kind of guy. So.
Ooh, okay. Well, yeah. I will hit anything. Right. I actually worked for a farmer who had a sugar bush, and when I was a young lad, so I have an appreciation for all kinds of maple syrup. But he did it the old-fashioned way. He had a team of horses that pulled a big old sledge with a big vat in the back of it, and we would trudge through the woods and get the maple syrup buckets that were hanging on the trees for the spigots, and we'd have to grab the bucket, empty it into the big old vat in the back of that sledge. That's hard work, by the way, collecting all that sap. So I have an appreciation for maple syrup. Always have some around, and I'm a fan of any kind, but I do fancy, I guess. Yeah.
I have a friend, and we'll have to bring stuff every couple of years when I go up there. I I come back with like probably 20, 30 quarts of maple syrup in my car.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, his family does not like it. They will only eat that crap that you get at the grocery store.
What?
Which is just absolutely disgusting.
Sacrilege. Yeah.
I'm the guy that if I go into like a restaurant or something, like an IHOP or something like that, I will ask for real maple syrup.
Yeah.
And if you ask for it, sometimes they'll pull some from out of the back if they don't usually have it out.
Okay.
But you have to ask for it, or I'll bring my own. I've done that too.
That's clever. I like that.
I have brought my own maple syrup to a restaurant before.
Keep your Aunt Jemima, whatever it is, I'm using the real thing.
Get that shit out of here. I have no time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is next for you then? You've got these 3 books. You've had those out for a little over a year now.
Yeah.
What's the next thing we can expect?
I am working on a sequel that's called Wild Darkness Gathers. It takes place 16 years after the trilogy ends, and it is a much shorter book, actually. So the trilogies, I don't think it's huge for fantasy, but the first book is 165,000 words. The second is 219,000, and the third is 240,000.
Oh, Mike has this stupid rule that he won't read anything over 500 pages.
But with the audiobook, I didn't know, and now I'm invested. So.
Oh, okay, all right.
But you'll be pleased, Mike. Maybe if you get through those, Wild Darkness Gathers is only 91,000 words. So much shorter.
Damn near bite size.
Sorry?
Says damn near bite size.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison, yeah. I'm just having fun doing a slightly more streamlined story. I also don't feel the need to make them as long because I've done a lot of the world building in the trilogy. So, and there's Alan in there. Can you highlight Alan's comment? Because he's the audiobook narrator. We were talking about you earlier, Alan. So, because he's got to do all the narrating. So I was trying to figure out, Alan, if I could revise Prophet of Adan and make the sentences a little longer for you.
But doesn't he get paid by the finished hour? This should be great. It's like, I mean,
he does get paid by the finished hour. There is that.
As an editor, I get paid by the word. Bring me your 200,000 word book. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. We were singing your praises earlier, Alan. So if you don't want to be embarrassed, don't do the replay. So.
Shane wondering when he gets an arc
of Wild Darkness Gathers. Yeah. I will be sending out arcs at some point in probably. So I wanted the book to be out in June. I'm actually pretty soon going to do a cover reveal and announce the exact date. But it's going to be.
So I take it then by that comment that you are a fan of long sentences.
I actually am a fan of variation in sentence length. So I will have a long-ish sentence followed by like a 2-word sentence. You know? I like to have a little.
Some people get really. I don't know what it is. They feel that if your sentence is longer than 5 or 10 words, that, oh my God, this sentence is too long. We need to break this up. And it's like people speak in longer sentences, I mean, you have the capability to hold air that will, allow you to get out a lot more than a few words.
Yeah.
So you don't sound like Hemingway.
Yes. Yeah. We're not doing minimalism here. This is fantasy. So
that's right. Semicolons are your friend.
Yeah. But I think that my prose, I love poetry, and I even stuck some poems into my trilogy, as Alan will, I'm sure, tell you. And Alan loves doing the poems. So I should do more poems for Alan. But I am very conscious of the sentences and how they sound, and I tried to write a book that would flow, that would have a rhythm to it. And so I'm probably too conscious and I edited these books. I don't even know how many times. Thank you, Alan. Yes. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, it's a little insane to spend that much time, honestly, writing a book, but if you're going to do it, it should sound pretty at times, at least. Right. So,
So will someone have had to have read the first three to jump into your new book and get what's going on?
I think you would get more from the sequel if you have read the trilogy. Also, more importantly, they're massive spoilers. If you read the sequel, huge spoilers for the trilogy. So yeah, I think I would advise people to read the trilogy first. But if somebody wants to buy my sequel and read it, I'm not going to tell them no. So yeah.
Right. So, Mike,
are we ready for the Bald Dome?
Let's do it. Let me go find something here.
Okay.
You explain what's going on.
So we want to know more about your main character, Day Raven, but we don't want you to give us spoilers. So I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, and
they're all going to be like ones and twos because he rolls like crap.
Anyway, he's going to be transported to somewhere new, but all the rules and physics of your world still hold. He will be transported somewhere new without any weapons.
Okay.
And he will end up having a potion. What's your favorite color, Philip?
Blue.
He has a blue fizzy potion, has no idea what it does, but it is 100% effective.
Okay.
Or, use it on his adversary. Either way, but have no idea what it does.
Okay. Can he use his own magic or just the potion?
Well, he's going to get either his choice, a regular item or a weapon. If he chooses a regular item, he'll face a regular animal. If he chooses a weapon, he'll face a fantasy creature. So that is the choice that you get to make for him. And I'm going to roll. So,
but your magic system of your world works in this scenario.
It does.
Like it would. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. All right.
So yeah, Day Raven should be okay. But the choice is now: does he want a regular common item or does he want a weapon? And
yeah, he's a very peaceful person actually. So he's gonna go with the common item.
Okay, he has a hoe.
A hoe. Okay.
Which is not the worst, believe it or not. That's actually one of the better ones he could get.
Okay.
Since he has a hoe instead of a pole axe, he is now facing. Oh, I should tell you first. He has been transported to a sunken city beneath the waves.
Oh, how's he gonna breathe down there?
It's Atlantis, so there's a giant bubble. There's air underneath. He's been transported there. He has his trusty hoe and his blue fizzy potion. And he is not going to face, what is it? He would have had a basilisk if he had a weapon, but instead, 19, what is 19? He is facing a water buffalo with a hoe and a blue fizzy potion in this Atlantis-like city under the waves.
Why is there a water buffalo?
Why do I feel like you had a low roll on the weapon and a really high roll on the monster?
So, Day Raven is just sitting there walking, and all of a sudden he's transported away through the void. He can feel his weapons just disintegrating away.
Okay.
His vision comes back, and there he is in an Atlantis-like city. He has a hoe for some reason in his right hand, and in his
which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Underwater, a hoe is really useful. Yeah.
Blue fizzy potion. The dome is like 20, 25 feet tall, so you got a little space there. He turns the corner, and lo and behold, there is a water buffalo that is not in good spirits. It looks up and it sees Day Raven.
Okay.
Take it away. What happens next?
Well, I think Day Raven would obviously sing the song of origin of water buffaloes.
He knows that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. He would sing the song of origin of water buffaloes, and he would make friends with this water buffalo by communicating with it.
In 180 episodes, that has got to be the weirdest thing I've ever heard someone say.
Yes.
Ding. Once again, we need a bell, Mike, for when we get first on this show.
Yeah.
That is the strangest sentence I've heard uttered. And we've had some doozies uttered.
Yeah.
Like, the whole issue of sex zombies or whatever, or zombie porn that we went into one episode.
Oh, yeah.
You still win, Philip. Well done.
Cool. I love it. He's going to be friends with this water buffalo now, by the way.
He finds out that it has a splinter in its hoof. And
its hoof, exactly. He takes out the splinter, and they're buddies.
Are you going to roll to see if he does it, Mike?
Oh boy, here we go.
He's going to roll a 1.
11.
Oh my God.
That's good-ish.
It's good for Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9 higher than normal.
Yeah.
Is that successful then? Is that a 20-sided dice
Yes.
die you got there? Okay. So I feel like anything over a 10 should be successful, right? Yeah, who is the guy behind you there, Mike?
And when did he get a porn stash?
So that is Grommy. He's the main character in my Becoming a Druid. And I bought David Lawson's special edition Envoys of War that has the mustache on the sword and the girl and so he sent me the book and he sent me mustaches. And I told him that, that just really there's a lot of gravitas to that and it just really makes me look much more formal. So I put the mustache on Grommy there.
I love it.
That mustache is full on Burt Reynolds kind of circa Smokey and the Bandit.
Well, I had that or a handlebar mustache to choose from. So
could be Tom Selleck. I think he looks a little like Tom Selleck.
It's just creeping me out now. Yeah, Alex said I finally noticed that I try not to look at stuff behind Mike because it will just make me laugh and think rude things, and I don't want to say those out loud. So he's done.
Does he use the potion at all?
We did it. I don't know. I mean, he's got a potion. Does he need to use it? I mean,
it's up to him. You don't know what it does, but
you're not really supposed to eat food that's colored blue. So I guess he can just keep it in case they meet someone else. But yeah.
So, Ro, what was the potion?
Do you want me to give that away?
Yes, because you rolled for it.
It lets the person who drinks it talk to plants for a day.
That would have been very helpful.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. Huh?
You could have heard the grass screaming as it got eaten by the water buffalo.
That's right. Get off! Get off!
Oh no! You guys didn't warn me we were going to have this much fun here. So
yes, we don't know. We never know.
No.
Well, so when do you go to shows or anything, or can people see you if they get up to New Jersey, can they find you somewhere without stalking your house?
Yeah. I mean, I do teach at a college in Morris County, at the County College of Morris, and I've had one event there for my books, and it was really cool because there were a couple people who showed up who were, not too far away, but they were just BookTube people, the people from our community who were familiar with me through my channel and had bought my books and had come to just get the book signed, so that was really fun. And there were a lot of supportive people from my campus at that event as well. But yeah, it would be nice to do more things like that, honestly. I contemplated going to some of these cons that they have, like Dragon Con or World Con or one of these things. So maybe I'll one of these years get out to one of those. And hopefully they'll have one in New York City or something. That'll be.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah. So.
I think it's like $500 for a table, but yeah, they have one.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
I think Philadelphia's only $400, I think. So, it's a bargain.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. So.
If anybody's interested, you can follow Philip on Twitter at Philip with one L, Chase90.
Yep.
As if everyone's not already following him.
You never know.
It's possible. I mean, maybe Alan isn't.
He knows where to find me anyway. Yeah. I'm on the other social media. I'm always Philip Chase 90, Philip with one L. And
are you on Blue Sky at all?
I'm on Blue Sky on Twitter, and I just recently joined Instagram. Everybody, so
wow,
yeah.
Hey. Yep. Do you dread social media, or do you actually enjoy it?
I have to actually admit that I'm not a natural. I'm not a natural social media person, to be honest with you. I think a lot of us who write are introverts. We're introverted and by nature, and we love talking with people about books. But doing the social media thing is something I've had to learn, and I'm still pretty awkward at it, honestly. And my daughters make fun of me routinely because I'm doing this with my phone, doing my, so I'm not a natural at this at all. But I putter along, and
it's fun because sometimes my students will learn that I have a YouTube channel, and I know, Alan. I have a YouTube channel, and they're like, "What?" And it's just kind of fun that their goofy English professor would have a YouTube channel, and is on Instagram and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I have tried to embrace social media to the extent that I am capable. And,
it's kind of like embracing a porcupine, though, isn't it? I mean, it's
yeah. It is part of. I mean, look, I suspect the majority of writers would love to just be in their little secluded cottage somewhere, doing their writing, no internet, no phone, no disturbance whatsoever, and then put out this their books, and magically readers would somehow find out about these books. But unfortunately, we live in a time when being a writer means being super active on social media. So
yeah.
I don't know. Actually, Tim, I don't know if I've ever been review bombed by a student. I've been review bombed for sure, but not by a student that I know of. So, but who knows? Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, if you want to find out what my students think of me, you could always go on Rate My Professor.
All right.
There's a website for that. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'll just tell you, last year had an intern where I work, and I just started Instagram, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy the dinosaurs using Instagram."
Oh yeah.
And so talking, and then somehow she found out I started working at the company at 2002, and she goes, "You've worked here longer than I've been alive."
See, that's just unnecessary. That's just rude.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah, I know.
And yep, let Alan have his plug. Go ahead, Mike.
There we go. Do it because it's brilliant. I mean, Alan hits it out of the park there. It's amazing to me that was this guy's first audiobook. And when people hear this performance, I am convinced that he's going to be approached by other authors. He should be because he's done such a wonderful job. He's
going to be so popular you won't be able to afford him soon.
I mean, that's what I'm afraid of. So hurry up, Alan. Finish up the trilogy before I can't afford you anymore.
Well, if you wrote 90,000 word books all the time, it wouldn't be such an issue.
That's true. If I would, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try to stick to the short but sweet from now on. Yeah. Look at that. He's got a 4.8 out of 5. So on Audible for his performance, that's just incredible. Yeah.
It's a little more. It gives you. I think it's actually better to have a 4.8 than a 5.
Yeah.
Because it makes it sound a little more credible. If you don't have firewall.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
So I got a suggestion for you, Philip. We're all going to go books through you, and then you will go and give it to Alan. Say, here's another book for you to do for me, and that way we can get the special Philip rate.
There we go. Okay. All right, that would work. Ooh. Yeah.
All right. Are your books available wide, or is it only Amazon?
I did the ebook through Amazon, so that means it's exclusive to Amazon. The print version, though, the paperback that I was showing earlier, I went through Amazon and Ingram Spark. So if you're not a fan of Amazon and you want to buy the physical, you can do that through Barnes & Noble or Walmart or bookstores in Europe and other places, wherever you can buy books online. Really, I think you can probably get a hold of the paperbacks. So yeah, if you for whatever reason don't want to deal with that, Amazon. Unfortunately, the ebook is something that it's a tough thing for indie authors to make that decision, I think. And some of us, they control 80% of the ebook market. So it's really tough to walk away from 80% of your potential market. But nobody's a fan of that exclusivity. So it would be really nice if we had a competitor, but we don't. Really.
Jeff Bezos seems to be enjoying it quite a bit.
I think he's doing all right off of it.
Yeah. He's laughing all the way to the launch pad.
Yeah.
I made enough money to buy rockets.
I mean, I don't know how much further it would have to go before it became a monopoly, but kind of seems like one to me. But
With that happy thought.
Yeah. Same here, Tim. Yeah, it's just And to be fair, let's be fair. Amazon has made self-publishing much more viable as well. We have to acknowledge that when we're critical of the giant, we also should acknowledge that they have done a lot. And I'll be honest with you, in terms of the print book, Amazon was a lot easier to deal with than Ingram Spark. But they're much more efficient, and I had much fewer problems working through KDP than I did Ingram Spark. And I also make a little more money from an Amazon print book than I do from an Ingram Spark print book. So
I've done Ingram Spark exclusively, and that does not shock me at all that there's much easier ways than Ingram Spark.
Yeah.
Amazon is, terribly easy. I've done it now a few times, and if I can figure it out.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Vermonters can figure it out.
Yeah.
What's that?
Vermonters.
Oh, by Jesus there,
These old woodchucks can do it too. So
don't get me going so I lose my T's and be speaking with a bunch of D's there. Oh, Jesus.
We even had the Jeezum Crow thing too, where I was.
Yeah.
Jeezum Crow. Yeah.
A buddy of mine, his dad's name, he had a really French name because where I'm from is right up by the border.
Yep.
And they get up there, and to talk like that there, all THs go away and they get a little stutter there, by Jesus there. And if you've never been, to anybody who's never been to Vermont and you want a good time, ask someone for directions. And you go down by the old Smith place. Of course, that they don't own it anymore and burned down about 5 years back there. But you go down there and take a left, go to about a half mile.
Yeah.
Right until you get to the train tracks. My God, and it's just like that. It's crazy, but
it's wonderful. Yeah,
it really is.
My favorite thing though is with a lot of those in my area too. So I'm from Lamoille County, and there's a lot of French Canadians who immigrated to that part of Vermont too. And the best part is how we mangle their last names, how they mangle their own last names. So it's not like Fournier, it's Fournier, or it's not. My favorite one is actually, it's not Charlebois, it's Charlie Boys, right?
Charlebois. Yeah.
Charlie Boys. That's how we say Charlebois in Vermont. Yeah.
So I'm originally from Kentucky, and there's a Versailles, Kentucky. So,
Versailles, I love
Nice.
it. Yeah. Of course, our capital is Montpelier, right? So, yeah.
Oh.
Lovely place. If it was 20 degrees warmer, I'd be back.
Yeah.
Might be anyway. Who knows?
It might end up being 20 degrees warmer. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Still too expensive. But anyway.
Yeah.
There it is. All right. Well, Philip, thank you very much for, spending 72 minutes of your life that you will never get back, but we certainly appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. It was a joy, guys. Thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
Thanks to the second largest crowd in the chat that we have ever had on this show. Yeah, I thought you were going to do it there for a minute. It was really close, but appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. And if you haven't clicked like and subscribe to the channel, please do, because I want to see Mike get a tattoo on his head. I know that the time frame for that has gone, but I'm sure he'll do it if pressed.
So if you reach a certain number of subscribers, you're getting a tattue, Mike?
So the thing last year was if we got to 500 by the end of the years, and we're at like 394, that I would get a head tattoo, which I'm going to pull up here in just a second if I can embrace technology. But sadly, we did not get to 500, so I do not have to get the scythe-wielding farmer harvesting hair.
Yeah, but I think you should extend it out to Worldcon, because that's where you're going to get it. That's where you would get it done, right? Because there's a tattoo artist who said he'd do it.
Adrian Gibson said he would be there, and he is a tattoo artist, so
Oh yeah.
I think you should extend it out to Worldcon, Mike.
So
that's only fair. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, the way we were growing, it's going to be 2028 before we get to 500. But
Well, you never know. So we might be having
on your show. Send people over and just tell them to hit like and subscribe. They never even have to watch the show. It doesn't matter. I just want to see Mike get his head inked.
We got to do this. We got to do this. And you should live stream the actual like tattooing as well.
You are like the 14th person who suggested that.
Oh.
I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. I don't know why.
When is Worldcon, Mike?
August.
By Worldcon, you guys are going to be over 500.
I would love to sit here and say that if we got to that point and you were going to do it, I would go just so I could hold the camera, but I can't make that commitment.
I think that there will be plenty of volunteers.
Yeah, I'm sure there will.
For sure. All right, there's a goal.
All right. Well, good luck with your books, your broken binding copies. They're lovely.
Thank you.
I've just sent an email to my mother-in-law in England and said, yeah, my birthday's coming up. You need to get that for me.
Yeah.
Because I noticed it was in pounds. So
yes, the price is in pounds. Yeah.
And you can always get a whole CD of music for your series, not just one song.
If I could afford it, yeah.
Trade him a few books for it.
Yeah.
That's fair, right?
Do you need a few books, though? Do you need more than one copy? Well, I mean, how many copies of Beowulf do you have? Sorry, I know we're trying to leave, but I have to ask this question.
I'd have to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's a sentence that's never been uttered
5,
before.
6, 7, 8, 9 copies at least. Yeah.
Can you
But
read them?
at my office, I have more. I don't know how many I have there.
Can you read them in Old English and understand them?
Oh yeah. I prefer to read them in Old English.
He says, "Oh yeah, like everybody should be able to do that."
That is a lifetime goal of mine, is to learn Old English.
Yeah, that's my jam. Like what way garden your dagum failed kuning athrim yafrunan who the athalingus ellen fremedon.
Ding! Something else that's never been done on the show before.
And they say world.
Yeah.
All right.
Opening lines. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. And Mike, when are we back here, man? When are we?
We are back tomorrow, and I'm going to get skewered.
Tomorrow?
Yes, we have 3 aeronautical engineers who are all going to be on the show to talk about the science and science fiction.
Wow.
And me with my English degree. Great. That'll be fun.
Ryan Patrick has actually read my sci-fi book and said, yeah, there was one chapter that had some really serious errors. And I was like, great. I don't know what it is, but let's do it live tomorrow. So I'm going to get skewered on my own book and not for the normal stuff.
I was going to say, that's nothing new.
So tomorrow.
Gluttons for punishment, you guys. That's what you are, right?
Yeah. Tim McKay, chapter 18, 19. You betcha. Both times. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, chat.